Hi, Donna.
Hiya, Sharon. It's Sharon's turn to take over Tales on Trent today. So would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, for people who don't know me, my name is Sharon Bairden, and you might have guessed by the accent that I'm from Scotland. I live in a small town just outside of Glasgow, about half an hour away from Glasgow. I am the author of these two beauties, Sins of the Father, which was my debut, which came out in November 2020, and You Need Me, which came out in October last year. I done very well remembering the years there, because I've kind of lost 2 years, which I suppose makes me 2 years younger, doesn't it? So if the last 2 years doesn't count. And you should never give me an open question, because I'm from Glasgow and I'll just waffle on for ages. I write dark psychological thrillers, I think you would call them. There's nothing cozy about the crimes in my book. I think in my writing, I like to explore the darker side of life. I like to explore the impacts that trauma, the impacts that what's going on round about us has on us as individuals. And for those who've read my books, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of a toxic and dysfunctional family. So yes, it's not happy families in my books for sure. My poor family though, I actually, you know, people talk about write what you know, and I would really like to point out my family are lovely. None of my characters are actually based on my own family. I just find toxic and dysfunctional families fascinating people. So yeah, so that's me. So I'm currently working on book number 3. I feel as if I've been working on book number 3 forever, because it sort of came to a standstill over the last 6 months or so. I think lockdown eventually sapped me of my creativity along with the day job. And I do have a day job. I'm chief officer of an independent advocacy service in East Dunbartonshire. And that sounds very fancy. It sounds very grand. We're a very, very small charity. There's 10 of us in total. So yeah, I'm the manager, which I don't know, you'd need to ask somebody else what my job is. I think I spend all day reading reports, writing reports, and going to meetings that I wish I didn't need to go to. So that's why I come home and torture and kill people for sort of stress relief, if you like. So and I'm really looking forward to my takeover day, and I'm really looking forward to coming along to Stoke-on-Trent in May. I've got a fun weekend planned. Looking forward to meeting everybody, some for the first time and some that may have already met somewhere along the
line. Did you always know that you wanted to be a writer?
I think like a lot of writers, probably when I was younger, I had a dream that I would love to write a book, because I've been an avid reader all my life, and I always thought, oh, I'd love to write a book. I kind of always thought that was just one of those dreams that you had when you were younger, like, you know, oh, I want to fly to the moon, you know, one of those unrealistic dreams. And I kind of grew up thinking, oh, people like me don't really write books, you know, that's for really intelligent folk. It's folk like that who write books. So yeah, I kind of always wanted to be a writer, but didn't actually ever believe that I ever would be. And I think it was when I started blogging, because I'm a blogger as well over at Chapter in My Life, and I started my book review blog through getting to know folk on book groups on Facebook, like most people. And I've really quickly found it was a really supportive and friendly community. So I started going, well, I had always been along to sort of book events, but sort of on the quiet, just sort of sneaked in and back out again, not really speaking to anybody. But I kind of got to know a few folk, and folks said, "Oh, do you not fancy writing yourself?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but you know, that's just a silly idea." But do you know what? Folk are really encouraging, and folks say, "No, why don't you give it a go?" So I went along to Crime and Publishment, which is a weekend writing retreat, if you like, for people interested in crime writing and psychological thrillers, run by Graham Smith and Michael J. Malone. And they bring in other writers over the weekend. So you've got a weekend of workshops, and you get the opportunity to pitch your book to an agent or a publisher at the end of the weekend. And I remember going along absolutely terrified, thinking, why am I here? Why am I here with all these people who know how to write books? I don't even know what I'm doing. But I had a wee prologue and I had a wee idea of what I wanted to do. And Graham was really, really supportive, and he's like, now you need to go and write it. So I did. Yeah, and that was Sins of the Father. So that was a very long-winded answer to your question. I told you I talked too much.
That's fine. You answered my next question without asking it, so that's even better. If you were to take one of your characters out for a meal, who would you choose and what would you ask them?
Oh, just one of them. Right, I have to say, I've got a really soft spot for Rebecca. Rebecca is the main character in Sins of the Father. And Rebecca is a young woman who has gone through terrible trauma in her life. And the story kind of unfolds in terms of the impact that had on her growing up, on her mental health and relationships she had with others. And people sometimes say she's not the most likable character, but I think when you get to know her and you get to know what's happened to her, you understand why she's the way she is. I think she's very much a product of a broken system. So I think I would just like to take Rebecca out and not even ask her questions, but just make her feel as if she's worth something, make her feel she's an individual, she's a human being like everybody else, and give her the opportunity to talk about what happened to her and sort of explore that and just show that not everybody's horrible, and people can be kind and people can be nice. So yeah, I don't think I'd want to question her. I would just want to make her feel that she had a value and she had a worth and she was a person. So yeah, Rebecca, I love Rebecca. I've always got a wee spot in my heart for her. So I don't know about You Need Me. I might take Morag out, and she's a twisted librarian. Yeah, she's a dark lady. So I don't know if I'd question her. I might take her behind somewhere dark and secluded and put an end to her, but maybe not question her.
What's been your best moment so far since you started writing?
Oh, there's been so many, absolutely so many. I think I'm going to have to pick two, because when I started writing, and the first time I went to Crime and Publishment, and Michael Malone asked us to do this visualization exercise, where you visualize that you were 100 years old, you were sitting watching the television and the news came on and they were featuring you as a successful writer. And they were saying, imagine that process, imagine them showing flashbacks from your life. So for me, the two things that I could always see, and the two things that I always wanted to happen if I ever wrote a book, was A, to have my book in Waterstones in Sauchiehall Street in Glasgow, and B, to appear at Bloody Scotland. And last year, both of them happened to me. And do you know what? I just keep on thinking, see if everybody takes everything away from me, those two things happened. So I had my book launch for You Need Me at Waterstones in Sucky Hall Street in Glasgow. My book was on the shelves, and I was in a panel at Bloody Scotland last year. So yeah, those two were just absolute amazing moments. They were the, you know, they were the kind of big things, but I think probably, you know, if you reflect on it, the really important things that have happened to me has been the friends that I've made. I've made friends that, not just book friends, but friends that I think will be friends for life. Yeah, some really, really special, kind, supportive people that I'm glad to call my friends. So yeah. Oh, I'll start crying in a minute. You'll get me all emotional. It's been one of those days.
I use you as an example if people are, because I speak to so many authors, you know, and they're unsure and they're disillusioned. I'm like, Sharon done it. She got her dream. Yeah. So why can't you? You can as well. So yeah. Don't give up. So yeah, you're exactly. my example.
Oh, thank you. That's nice. I've been made an example of. I'm usually made an example of in other ways, but
so you're inspiration.
That's a nice way to be made an example of. Usually don't do what she does.
Yeah, that's usually the example I'm used as well.
So yeah, I think you know there's nothing wrong with having dreams, and dreams don't have to be crazy big dreams, you know. And even if you think they are crazy big dreams, you know what, they can still happen. They absolutely can still happen, and you should never give up on your dreams, never. Oh God, I'm going to cry tonight. I'm just going to. I will compose myself
quickly. I don't want to break.
I will compose myself.
Who are you looking forward to catching up with or meeting for the first time at Tales on Trent?
Oh, I think I'm just looking forward to meeting everybody, because I think there's a lot of authors going and a lot of people going that, you know, that I haven't had the chance to meet yet. I know that I met you last year in Stirling, Donna, so I'm really looking forward to catching up with you again. I think I went along to Tales on Tuesday, and I just thought the group were absolutely fantastic. The group were amazing, and it really resonated with me in terms of the work that I do, in terms of working with people, and the sort of pleasure and the joy and the sort of stress release, if you like, that books and reading can bring. So I'm looking forward to meeting up with folk that were at the group. And I'm going to say it, I can't wait to see Noelle for the weekend. The two of us are going down on Friday night. We're room buddies again. We've kind of been room buddies for the last 5 years. You know, every time we go to an event, we end up sharing. So yeah, I'm Noelle Holton. You all know who Noelle Holton is. I don't need to introduce her. She's my twinnie. Obviously, we look alike. And if it wasn't for the accent, she wouldn't be able to tell us apart. So yeah. And yeah, and you'll see how quiet and shy and retiring both of us are. People don't believe us, but we really are.
You've got quite some competition for troublemakers at Tales of Trent. So
oh well, then we might be the quiet ones after all.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but yeah, there's going to be some characters, and there's going to be some very loud and very mischievous people. So
excellent! It'll be a fantastic weekend. It'll be really good.
It will.
Really looking forward to it.
Well, I don't think I've got any more questions for you, so we shall just leave you to do whatever you would like with our group for the day, and can't wait till May.
The power. What shall I do?
Indeed, it's all yours.
Just as well, I'm not very IT literate, and I can't do anything, you know, technical to take over the page. I will be on my best behaviour a little bit, but yeah.
You know,
and I'm looking forward to seeing. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in May, Donna. Okay.
Me too. I can't wait.
Okay, you take care. Speak soon.